Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is the press hour reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. We've now been joined by our guest, Richard Oriri. He just told his birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God, this is beautiful to know that it's your birthday. So how are you celebrating to start with?
Low key.
Low key.
I just thank God for crossing the hurdles in Nigeria to this period of my life. Beautiful.
Happy birthday to you. We wish you long life and prosperity. And I'm sure all of our viewers today are wishing you a happy birthday.
Thank you, Nigerians.
Anyway, they'll soon start calling you and wishing you proper. Anyways, let's begin with, because you said you thank God for life and for, what else did you say just now? You said you thank God for life. What else did you just say you thank God for Nigeria?
I thank God for life because I came into this world years back, and there are too many people that were in the world before me, and I came before some other persons, and I came to meet other ones. But today, majority of the people who were there before me, they are no more here. Most people that I came in with, they are not here. And today, look at me here, meaning I have God's grace. If outside the grace of God, I won't be here.
Happy birth anniversary to you.
Thanks a lot, I appreciate it.
Anyway, so long as there's life, we must always celebrate the birth that we have. All right, so let's go to the stories that have made the rounds on the paper this morning. The first is Minister. It says electricity tariff hike reversal would derail reform plan. Now remember that Labour actually picketed NEC Center and Disco's Center across the states, across the 6 states of the Federation on Monday. And after the FEC meeting, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, came out to say that having to reverse the tariff in electricity, the hike in electricity tariff hike is going to cause a setback to their reform policy. And remember that on the 24th or thereabouts, the Punch actually reported that the minister also said that they need $10 billion annually to be able to steady electricity in Nigeria. And I want to pick this excerpt for you to take a look at. It said they should please not derail or distract our transformation plan. We have a clearly documented reform roadmap where we're going to have reliable, functional, cost-effective, and affordable electricity. Is this sounding like no pain, no gain, or it is as a result of other conversations like IMF saying that the government should not accept subsidy on electricity? Let's get your thoughts on that.
Thank you very much. And I pick what you said, and you made mention of IMF. Yes. Even before mentioning IMF, that is the direction I wanted taking it from.
Oh, okay.
The general policy of the current administration, economic policy of the current administration, clearly shows that the current administration, they are playing the card of IMF and the World Bank, and we call it Washington Consensus monetary policy, and that is to the third world countries, the developing countries or underdeveloped countries, and look at what the Minister of Power is saying, to say that they need how many $1 billion to keep what they're doing going.
10 years.
That shows clearly that they have intention of taking loan from either World Bank, and before you take that loan, they have their policy. One, that Washington Consensus clearly says if you are taking loan, you have to cut your expenditure on public enterprises. That is, any government agencies, any government enterprise that you are already subsidizing, you have to remove the subsidy. And when you remove the subsidy, for you to convince IMF or World Bank that you will be able to pay back the loan, you have to increase tax.
Of course.
And that is what they are doing. But they are getting it all wrong, because it has not, I have not seen any country of the world, all these third world countries that go by this IMF policy that have succeeded. One, you will keep impoverishing your country, your citizens. The poverty will keep increasing, because one thing is that investors will be scared to come. And look at what is coming from the power sector. Labor union, the other day I saw on national television where union members were protesting in those states, yes, some other part of the country, complaining of non-supply of electricity.
Yes.
Inadequate supply of electricity. You are not supplying electricity and you are increasing tax on electricity. That will clearly define your roadmap to investors. One, they are coming to a country where power supply is not steady, and again, as they are coming, there will be so much tax for them to pay. How will you survive? They will come, and the ones existing before, they will have to fold up, because they can't meet up with your tax policy, and you are not giving them enough power supply to enable them keep on with their business. So the best thing for you to do is not to lose. You have to fold up, and that is what is happening all over Nigeria today. Now there is so much tariff on electricity. If there is no bread in Abuja, the lowest price of bread you can get now is 1,800 naira. And the other was 2,000 naira. The same thing applicable to so many other business organizations within the FCT and other part of the country. So the price will keep going up. They have removed, the policy is that you remove the subsidy, and you see IMF clearly telling the power minister that they should not they should not put a subsidy on power. If you are not putting subsidy on power, that is their rule. You can't put subsidy on power. You can't put subsidy on fuel. You can't put subsidy on so many things. And again, you have to privatize some other government enterprises. That's why you see the whole NNPC in Nigeria today is being privatized. It's no longer NNPC that you know. It's NNPC that is driven by business people. It's all about profit making now. Almost every part of Nigeria today it has turned to capitalist economy.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you two questions in one. First of all, is the government not supposed to subsidize some things for the citizens? And yet again, there's been conversations that if private hands can no longer handle some of these organizations, why not take it back?
Private hands, you mean the public sector?
Yes.
No. What is this? Taking it back. How will you take back what you have given? Like remember the power sector now. During Jonathan administration, even Obasanjo went about privatizing some of these federal government agencies. And when Jonathan came in through Yaradua, after Yaradua died, and Jonathan came in, he was the one who perfected the privatization policy on the most of these power sectors. That was when Senator Naji was Minister of Power, and he has to resign from Power Minister. He resigned, and he was opportune as a Power Minister. He supervised this over the privatization, and he got huge of it for himself. The same thing with other senators that I know from the North Central here. The Just Power Station is owned by politicians, so they have to sell it to themselves. And we, the poor Nigerians, we are the ones suffering it today. So it's IMF policy that Nigeria, the current administration, is clearly playing their cards, and we are the ones suffering the brunt, and it will continue unless they reverse their policy.
Even though they claim that this supposed policy is on the way to their reform agenda,
they are using it to tie third world countries to their leg, to their self. As they give you the loan, they will equally come up with the policy. The policy clearly shows that there's no how you can move forward, because one, as you are removing subsidy, you are increasing tax, and price of other goods and services, they are going up. The citizen will find it very difficult to survive it, and for you to sustain yourself, to survive, you have to depend on the World Bank for borrowing. And this borrowing, where are you channeling it to? Now they are channeling it to infrastructure. They are talking of road infrastructure. Yes, it's good. As you are putting this infrastructure, road, what will you benefit from this road? What will the road give to us? The only thing the road can do is to open up that angle for investment. But how many investors are coming to invest on that part of the road of the country? How many investors are coming? How many Nigerians have that money to go and say, let me go and build industry this side? If you are building, you don't have it's known to you that you will not have a power supply. The best thing you do is to set aside a certain amount of money that you use in buying a generator, which is gas down is so high, you can't buy gas, you can't buy fuel, everything so high. So most investors are running away from Nigeria presently, and that's why you see the suffering keep going higher.
In between this issue of electricity tariff hike, something was unveiled, which is the fact that there's an apartheid style in some of the things that we do in Nigeria. For example, some persons get to enjoy more power supply, some persons get to enjoy less. Some persons get to pay more, some persons get to pay less. Some persons get to, I don't know if you understand this scenario I'm trying to paint. Now, what do you make of this kind of style of doing things in the country where we say we have democracy, where we say citizens are all equal, where we say we all vote and our vote counts? What's your take on that?
It's about bad governance, and most of the people that we elect today to represent us, they are people that don't even know the rudiment of democracy. This what democracy is all about. They don't know about it. Democracy, where democracy have survived. If you go to India, democracy has survived in India. If you go to US that we borrowed from, even Britain that we borrowed from, it has survived in those areas. But what you see, where democracy is surviving there, why we are not surviving in democratic practices, is because the three angles, the three branches, the three angles that hold the pillar of democracy across the globe, we don't know how to make use of them. Democracy in a vertical angle, democracy in a horizontal angle, and democracy in a diagonal angle. The democracy in the vertical angle, democracy in the vertical angle is where power is shared between the three different arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, where they check it themselves, so that there will be no excess of power by this other arm of the government. Like the legislature, they are supposed to check the excesses of the executive, but they are not doing that. Like this imbalance in the power supply, where they call one section band A, band B. Why the discrepancy? And these are questions that the House of Representatives and Senate, even if you go to the local level, state level, where the House of Assembly members representing all the local government in the state and the state legislature, that is where they have to ask the executive that is implementing these government policies. But they are not asking these questions. Democracy in a diagonal angle, that is where you see civil society, CSOs, coming to ask, why do you take this decision? Once government, those in power, take decisions, you have to check them.
Yes.
This decision you have taken now, we don't want it. Like the other day, they talk about cyber security levy.
Yes.
You see CSOs across the country going against it, and at the end, that pressure, that one not so much pressure on the president, and he has to reverse it.
There's a headline that captioned it as federal government bows to pressure.
Yeah, bows to pressure. Yeah, so he has to reverse it. The same thing. That diagonal angle is so strong. It's so strong. But in Nigeria, the diagonal aspect of democracy, where civil society, even this labor union, they come to check, to ask questions on the excesses of government. Here in Nigeria, they monetize it. Some of these CSOs are being registered even by those in government. They will call you, go and register as a civil society organization that they will be using in the administration. Every government that comes in Nigeria, they have CSOs that they work with. When they lead protesters, they will call this person who are in the head of different NGO, civil society organizations, to carry out certain protests for them. So CSOs, they don't work, it's not effective in this country, and that is why we are having democracy so low. And again, if you go to the horizontal aspect of a democracy, that is when citizens, the electorate, they come to tell you that what you have done in these 4 years, we are not satisfied with it, and we are not voting you in again. And that will normally come after 4 years. Because in the Nigerian democratic system, the style of democracy we are operating in Nigeria is after 4 years that you go to the poll to vote again. Then we warn you, this thing you are doing, you can't come back, we will not vote you in again. But in Nigeria, as they have impoverished the poor masses, even when the time comes, all this mouth that we are making, we won't vote this person in, this person will not go back, this person will not go back. At the end, they will still use the money that they have gathered from the central purse of all of us. They have stolen from our central purse to come and buy our vote again, because you are poor. You don't have the power. The power originally, democratic power originally should be in our hands.
Because you talked about,
should be in our hand, but it's not in our hand, because they have used money to take it back to themselves. The power, democratic power in Nigeria is in the hand of the few. The elected few, those who have the opportunity to be in governance. They are the one that democratic power is in their hand in Nigeria. Democratic power is no longer in the hands of the poor masses.
Okay.
So we are having everything so wrong because we don't have people that check the SSS of government.
All right, because you just mentioned the style of democratic, the kind of democracy that we practice in Nigeria. So there's this statement on the Nigerian Tribune that Obasanjo backs alternative system of government in Nigeria. And part of it says that he's calling for a shift from the usual practice, the presidential democracy that we have in Nigeria, to something parliamentary. I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think this is something that can work? Because they say Western liberal democracy has failed to deliver, and reps are planning to hold their national conference come July 1st. Do you think this is something that they can make a move?
We don't have people. We don't. It's like we don't have research department in this country. Countries.
But we have an agency.
We see. Like India now, last year, because India was rated low democratically, the rate at which they rated India last year in terms of equality, that is gender equality in Indian democratic arrangement, they rated India low. For that reason, the president Modi said the way that India had been rated, that he was not satisfied with it. He engaged in the research institute of one research institute in India to carry out research and come up with a clear roadmap how India's democracy will be operated and how the Indian democracy will be rated. In Nigeria, every country, almost all the countries across the globe today, go to China. China, they are socialist states, but are they not going to elect their leaders? That shows that they are democracy. They practice democracy. So every country in the world, they design democracy, the type of democracy that suits them. It's only a military regime that they don't go, the masses don't go to the poll to vote, that you say we don't have democracy. Even Russia, so they have democracy, they are socialist state, but they have democracy because they go to select. Recently, the current president of Russia was re-elected again. So it's democracy they operate. But the style, how can we in Nigeria today, if we are going back to parliamentary, meaning we don't have focus, we have no focus at all. If you have focus, something you have seen that is not working well for you, you abandon it and you choose the American style of democracy. The first democratic system that we operate in this country when we got our independence in 1960 was a parliamentary style. And we saw that parliamentary, not up to even 6 years, not up to how many years before we dumped parliamentary in Nigeria.
Let me quickly take this line for you to see. He said, we started on a faulty base. Because you said you saw that something is not working for you, abandoned it. He said, we started on a faulty base. And what is a faulty base? Western liberal democracy. Our problem started from what we inherited from our colonial masters. See, even the Western liberal democracy, the one they inherited from our colonial masters is the parliamentary. It's liberal. And the one they choose to take again is American style of democracy. It's liberal. Liberal democracy is what they inherited. They are both liberal. But the problem we are having in Nigeria is that the British that operate parliamentary and the Americans that operate this style of democracy that we operate now, they combine liberal democracy with nationalism. They combine liberalism with nationalism. Nationalism talk about liberal democracy talk about a good life for the masses. Absolutely. Good life. Then nationalism talks about egalitarianism. How you will live together, the cohesion. How you will see put your national interest first above your selfish interest. But in Nigeria, we are focusing only on liberalism, and we forgot what can even the only aspect of democracy that have that glue that can get us together so strongly is that nationalism. It's nationalism that glue every nation together. So that's what you think we currently lack in Nigeria? We lack it so seriously because as in elite in India, they have the national idea, the national value of India is human capital development. The national value of America is democracy and open market economy, which they are selling, exporting across the globe today. Democracy and open market economy. But Nigeria, we don't even have national value.
that we are looking at. This is our value, that we can go to war. America is in war now with the war between Ukraine and Russia. It's democracy that America is fighting there. America is supporting Israel because of democracy. Israel is a democratic state. You get my point? So America is protecting democracy across the globe, and they are the one exporting democracy across the globe. So that is their national value. But in Nigeria, we don't have national value. India, any person that is in government, any elite in government in India, what they look at is human capital development. They are redesigning their basic education now. They want to focus more on this basic education, nursery, primary, and secondary school to get it right. But in Nigeria, that is human capital. Giving education to your citizens, sound education to your citizens. It will widen their scope of knowledge. But in Nigeria, our national value here is selfish interest. What benefits you as the person that is occupying the seat, and what benefits your clan, what benefits your family, what benefits your friends, what benefits your state, and what benefits your tribe. But we don't see we don't look at what benefits the country, the image of the country. We don't take it to be anything. That's our problem. Nationalism, we lack it. So
that means we need an infusion of nationalism.
So we have to redesign our democracy. We have to redesign our democracy, not going back to parliamentary. Going back to, if we are dumping democracy, let us choose socialism. Socialism is working very well, perfectly well in other parts of the country, of the world. Socialism has worked in India, in China. Sure. Socialism has worked in Russia. It's working all over. It's democracy. Because they go to the poll to elect their leader when the time comes. So it's not just that. Yes, democracy is one major ingredient of democracy is election. Yes, another major ingredient of democracy again is information. We don't even have the information here. What is happening in the government? They are shrinking information.
Has always been a problem.
It's a very terrible problem. So for leaders that we even hope on for advice, coming on national television, national radio to tell us, the younger ones, that we have to go back to parliamentary, meaning the future is so dark.
Very bleak.
It's so dark.
All right, let me take you to some other political stories, because I know that's more like your place. So let's talk about what's happening in Rivers State. Now, Fubara has come out to say we inherited huge debt burden from Wike's administration. So there's a statement that if Fubara is accusing the Wike's administration of being in debt, in so much debt to the state, that means that he's like a self-indictment on himself because it's part of the administration. So would you say this is some sort of a political statement or the usual drama between him and the previous administration?
Our leaders are our problems. And the happening in Rivers is like touts in the garage fighting themselves. They don't care about the poor masses that they govern. What they are fighting about is just their personal interest, not the interest of the entire River people. Now he's coming out today to tell us River is
he said most of the projects that was done were not fully paid for.
Who was the chief accounting officer releasing the fund? Who was the chief accounting officer? He was the chief accounting officer.
That's why I say it's itself.
Why is he telling us this now? Why is he telling Rivers people this one now? Why now? Why was he not out to tell the River people? Like in 2022, he was accused of embezzlement. The same Fubara was accused of embezzlement of over 40-something billion. EFCC declared him wanted. They were looking for him everywhere. Wike kept him into cage. He caged him somewhere and made it impossible for EFCC to get him until he made him governor. So they should look for a way on how to resolve themselves and start lying to us.
Let's quickly take this call because I know this is far from being over. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Akim calling from Lagos.
Good morning, Mr. Akim. You're welcome to the press.
Yeah.
Please join the conversation.
Okay, yeah. And hello to your analyst. I love his analysis this morning.
And it's his birthday today.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right. So, first thing that I just need to say is that, well, like we keep on saying, Mr. Tinubu issue a I don't want to blame him, but he should as well just be listening to the masses of this country, wherever. He should not allow the IMF to control our economic. Whoever that are advancing him in this field, team, they should be critical about the masses. The less privileged of Nigeria, because if they are advantaged, especially those that are at the high level, they may not feel the economic impact of the changes they are making. So it's not by war. It's not a war. Economic management is not a war. You must not force your citizens because you want to correct the economy or somebody is influencing you. So Mr. President should listen very well, and I know if he has listening ear, he will listen, because the masses are really suffering. Then again, your analysis there's somewhere I disagree with you, even though I love your analysis. Where I disagree with you is about America. Please, if you are talking about democracy, don't call America. America is not a democratic state. The reason is this. You said they are defending Ukraine because they are fighting they are fighting for democracy. It's a lie. I'm sorry to say it's a lie. They are not fighting for any democracy. What they are fighting for is hegemony. If you look at America, when you say fundamental human rights, they don't respect it when it comes to aspect of anything that has to do with them. So democracy or fundamental human rights only works when it suits them. That is nonsensical, both them and the Western nation. So the Africans need to start to be thinking straight now. So forget about America. It's a big lie when they tell you about democracy. It's not democracy they're fighting for, and that is why Vladimir Putin, you understand the game very well and is stood, and there's nothing they can do. So please, I don't want to hear that kind of. They don't practice any democracy. They are hegemonies. Period. And God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
God bless you too.
I totally agree with him. I wanted to go into that angle as a student of international relations, but I just have to cover up and leave that part. Yes, it's hegemonic influence that they are fighting. America is on a tight corner in the fight between Ukraine and Russia presently, because they put democracy on the front burner for the world to see that it's democracy. They want Ukraine to be independent and to choose the type of government they want to practice, which they choose. They say democracy. But the true issue going on there is that, Ukraine, they have large deposits of uranium, which they use for nuclear weapons. Yes. So America have so much interest in the uranium that is they have in large quantity, and Russia. In 1991, yes, in 1991, it was in 1991 that the Soviet Union disintegrated, and since after the Soviet Union disintegrated, Ukraine is part of Russia territory. So America jumped into Ukraine to say they are taking Ukraine from Russia territory. It's an insult. And from that time till now, the whole world is seeing Russia as a powerless nation. That Russia has gone down in terms of power, that they don't have international power again. So, but now Russia want to prove. The reason the citizens of Russia went to the poll to say Putin should still be their president is because it's giving them hope that Russia is coming back again to reclaim their seat in the international political arena.
When it comes to
yes,
power.
And now they fight it. Why the US is taking it so serious is to say the other smaller countries that are depending on US to say they are big brother, the alliance they are building with US, they are now saying that if they should fail, if Ukraine should fail, should crash now, that dependence will crash, will shift to Russia.
Of course.
They say Russia has more power now than America. That's the fight. It's hegemonic influence. And international politics, that power. Once you have that capacity, the ability to maintain your hegemonic influence on the potential hegemon, you maintain your hegemonic influence, and you stop a potential hegemon from rising. You don't want to use Russia to rise again. And Russia say we are where we are. And today now we have three major powers in the world.
I wish we could talk more about
US, China, and Russia. India is following them behind.
All right.
So what he said, I totally agree with him. There is a hegemonic fight that they are fighting. So it's not that.
I agree, but unfortunately, unfortunately, we don't have so much time to talk more about the international politics since we're discussing.
No problem. I just want to expatiate.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Let's still look at what's happening in Rivers State. It's more like what happens in most states when you have the successor taking over from the predecessor. It's always a lot of drama. Look at Kaduna, look at Ondo, look at Edo, look at Benue. Now, come back to Rivers. Why do we always have this kind of system whenever people bring in another person to succeed them?
It's hegemonic influence, like you said. We can bring that hegemony.
I just looked at it like in Lagos State, they've had this smooth transition from persons to person, from persons to person. But I feel like every other state that has tried, to try to emulate that, always have issues along the way.
But they are still not learning. Okay. They are still not learning.
What could be the
democracy? They are supposed to internal democracy within parties. They have so much abused it in Nigeria that they don't even allow potential people that have the mindset to lead and lead very well with the fear of God. They don't allow them to pass through party primaries and win election. They normally bring their stooge to come and take over from them, thinking if the stooge come, they will still have that hegemonic influence in the state to say, I am the only king kong here. And it's through that angle that they use in bargaining at the national level to have position. This person is in charge of this state, he's the one. Without him, you can't get the vote from this state. So any governor that is leaving office, because as a sitting governor, you have been seen to be the one in control of the masses because they are too poor. Even especially the position that they are given, local government chairman, supervisory councillor, commissioner, board chairman, board members that the governor have within the local level. Because in Nigeria, the poverty level is so much at the local level. And because the governor is too close to them, and local government chairman, local government administration, they are no longer, they don't have that power to descend down to the local level. Everyone within the state, they rely so much on the governor. So for that reason, the governor, they are so powerful at the state level that they can give you the total vote of the state if election comes, especially national election. So almost all these fake leaders from the local level there, from the state level, they want to keep that hegemonic influence in their state to say, I am the one in charge. So when the new governor comes in, other people will advise him, you have to be in charge. You don't have to allow. Once they start listening to this, their new ally within the state level, that's when you see them having problem with their boss. The moment they start listening to them, they begin to have problem.
I'm wondering what's the force around this issue of always wanting to retain control after your administration is over.
So the best thing now is any governor that is about leaving power, when your party say primary election, allow everyone contesting the election to test their capacity, to test their image, their political image before the party members. Let them select whoever they think can lead the state well. Remove your hand, and that one will give you better respect between your party, SECO, and within the entire state. Once you allow level playing field to be followed within your party, instead of standing with one person, look at whoever believed that Ubasani will fight Rufai.
Nobody
believes it.
The same way we never thought that will ever fight.
See Edo State everywhere. So Benue State, SGF and the present governor is in fact they are the one. This elite. They are the one destroying democracy in this part of the world. They are the one destroying democracy. They want to keep that their hegemonic influence intact, and they don't want another person to even raise voice. Even if you make somebody to become governor, you want the person to keep listening to you. Even when you have your policies different from his side, there's even identical twins. They can't think alike.
I totally agree.
Even their blood group will not be the same. This one might be AS, this one might be AA. You understand? So the same way, you cannot, you don't have the power to say this governor are the one that planted you. But the way this is the template of how I want you to run this. At least you should have your own idea that you want to put on the table for your people. So once you see somebody that have such idea, allow the person.
Sure.
The fight shouldn't be there. The same fight almost ensued between the current Minister for Works and the current governor of Ebonyi State. But they use wisdom to kill it down.
Now, let's take a look at something that happened between Speaker and the Minister of Women Affairs. They say Speaker lashes Minister for opposing plan to marry off girls. That was actually trending on social media, and we have a video clip to that effect that our producer will play now.